Hey everyone, today I want to share something really important, something I wish I knew when I was younger, something that probably would have saved me a lot of heartache and a lot of money. Most people will spend their entire lives working for 30 years or more and never actually build real wealth. Why is that? I have thought about this a lot, and for me, it comes down to one simple idea. Most people spend their entire lives consuming instead of owning. They finance everything, they owe everybody, they buy a bunch of liabilities, and they never build enough productive assets or capital in their own financial lives. If you want to become what we talk about all the time on this channel, financially stronger, say over the next decade or so, you need to own more and owe less. It sounds simple, but it is a huge shift in mindset. So I want to break down the 5 most important assets that I believe every adult should own as soon as possible. And I mean as soon as possible because the sooner you start, the better. Let us start with the first one. The first asset or piece of capital that everybody needs to acquire is simply high income skills. Now, let me be real with you. Okay, this is a tough pill to swallow for some. If you make $60,000 a year, it is because you have $60,000 a year skills. I hate to be blunt and flat out about it, but we have to be honest with ourselves here right now. If you want to make more, you have to get the skills that is capital, that actually pay more. Look, it does not get a whole lot more complicated than that. If you are making $40,000 a year and you want to make $200,000 a year, then go out and get the higher paying skills that will earn you $200,000 a year. Honestly, this is probably the most overlooked form of capital in America right now. Your income, your ability to make income, is what is going to fund every other asset that I name on this list. Your earning power is your greatest wealth building tool in the beginning to get started. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is wanting to go out and try to invest heavily before they have even increased their ability to earn more money. It is like trying to build a mansion with a tiny toolbox. The first thing you want to do is develop some higher paying skills as soon as possible. We know that as you get older, they get developed more and more and you refine them. But in the beginning, you have to be striving for skills that do not pay you $40,000, but pay you $400,000. Listen, if you only make enough money right now to survive every month, it is going to become more and more difficult for you to build ownership over time in America. That is why high-paying skills matter so much. The first thing that is going to open the door to more for you in your life is your skills. So what are high-income paying skills? What are they? These are specialized abilities that the job marketplace is going to pay big money for if you come to the table with them. Think about it like software development, sales, computer engineering. Can you excel at something like nowadays digital marketing? Do you have AI-related skills? Are you good at data analytics? Are you good at financial management or the old school, right? Are you a doctor? Are you a lawyer? Are you an engineer? Do you have the skills that are going to pay you more money than you currently make right now? Do you have to go out and get those skills? Perhaps that is a good investment to go out and get the higher paying skills. And here is the kicker. Right now today, the beautiful thing is that the internet has dramatically lowered the barrier to entry to learning some of these valuable high-paying skills. You no longer have to have the expensive degree from a big-time university. You no longer have to end up in incredible, massive student loan debt to get these higher-paying skills. You can literally learn valuable, high-paying skills online for real. There are a bunch of platforms out there, including YouTube and other certifications that you can get, that have made learning high-paying skills way more accessible to all of us. Now, hear me carefully on this. Okay, I am not telling you to go out and learn 15 things at one time. That is where a lot of people mess up. Just pick a valuable skill and go deep. Master it, spend 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, every single day improving or getting better at or learning it. You have to think of skills like capital. Your skills are going to increase your ability to generate more income, which when you start generating more income, that is going to allow you to build ownership in everything else. Now, even with higher income paying skills, if you have no financial margin in your life, one emergency can wipe out years of financial progress, which actually brings me to the second asset that every adult should have. And that is cash reserves. Really, I think this is one of the most underrated forms of financial strength for adults nowadays. Cash, let us be honest, has got a bad name recently, right? Everyone says invest everything, but here is the deal. Cash creates breathing room. I do not care what your favorite YouTuber or podcaster has said about cash. Cash creates peace and stability in your financial life. A lot of people today are financially stressed out because they have very little cash. They have no cushion left over at the end of the month. They have money coming in that is $4,000 a month, and they have bills going out the door that are $4,000 a month. People have no cushion, they have no flexibility. Look, one car breakdown, 2 tires on your car breakdown, and you are in financial stress, or one medical bill, right? Or you go to the doctor for something. They say it is going to be a $100 copay, and you panic because you do not have a $100 copay to pay it, or you get laid off from a job. Right, when that happens and everything falls apart financially because of a surprise or emergency, that tells you that you do not have enough cash, and that is dangerous. This is why I always say on this channel, financial stability starts before you get to aggressively investing your money. I want you to aggressively invest money, but I want you to have a safety net first. Cash reserves are almost like psychological armor. What are cash reserves? Let us be clear. I am talking checking accounts. I am talking high-yield savings accounts. I am talking money market accounts. I am talking short-term CDs. I am talking physical green cash that you can get your hands on in a matter of 6 hours. This type of cash is an asset. It is capital. It protects you from job loss, emergencies, income goes way down, economic uncertainty happening all around you, unexpected expenses. It covers all that without forcing you to have to go dig into your long-term investments or dig into your 401k or dig into the equity in your home. This is important. The cushion of cash protects the compounding growth of all the stuff that you have in your long-term investments that you want to keep growing and not touch. You are less likely to touch all that stuff if you have cash. Hear me out. One reason a lot of people make emotional financial decisions is because they just do not have any cash reserves. That means they have no breathing room, and that creates panic. So here's what I recommend to everybody. Keep your reserves, your cash reserves, separate from your regular checking account. You do not want it so accessible that you get to it and pull from it when it is not an emergency. If you are trying to build it up, automatically transfer money every time you get a paycheck into the cash reserves. So you have some safety net. Really, guys, this is where your real financial peace begins to happen when you have this capital called cash look. When you have $20,000, $30,000 in your emergency fund stash somewhere that you can get to, it changes you. I am telling you, it makes you feel a little different. Now, once you have built this stability of having this emergency cash, then you can begin to focus more heavily on ownership of assets, which brings us to investing the third asset that every adult should own. In my opinion, is broad market index funds and ETFs. When I say broad market, I am talking about a big slice of the market. Maybe it is the SP 500, maybe it is QQQ, maybe it is the NASDAQ 100, but it is a big slice of the stock market. Let me simplify this. Okay, these are the investments that allow you to own small pieces of typically hundreds of different companies all at one time in a bucket called an ETF or index fund. Instead of trying to gamble on individual stocks and picking the hot stocks and knowing when to pick the hot stock and when to sell the down stock, you do not have to do all that broad-based index funds and ETFs cover you. There is nothing wrong with single stocks. Do not get me wrong, but with index funds and ETFs, you are participating in the long-term growth of the overall economy itself because you have 100, 200, 500, 1,000 different stocks in a bucket. This is important psychologically for a lot of people. You have to shift from only working for money to owning productive capital in the stock market, which a lot of you do, right? But that is a major shift for some people. Historically, broad market investing has rewarded patience, discipline, and the big one, consistency, more so than any type of emotional hype or trying to predict. Listen. Too many people lose money because they are constantly reacting emotionally to what the headlines say about the stock market. One week you are hyped up and excited, and then the next week you are panicking. You are not sure. You do not have to do all that when you buy broad-based index funds and ETFs, right? When you are getting hyped up all the time and emotionally involved, that is not investing. That is just emotional behavior. You never want to be led by your emotions when you are dealing with money and assets, right? This is why I say all the time, consistency matters more than trying to predict stuff. One reason I like broad-based index funds and ETFs is because they reduce the risk that comes with trying to constantly pick these individual winning stocks. That is hard. About 95% of my overall portfolio is broad-based index funds and ETFs because they are diverse. They are fairly simple, they totally remove emotion, and they are excellent for long-term compounding. Just saying, I want to own big chunks of the overall economy, and the beautiful thing about them is this. Most average people can start really small. You can open up an account at Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Vanguard, Robinhood in a matter of 5 or 6 or 8 minutes, and you can start plugging in $5 a week, and over time the compounding is going to start. It is going to start doing the heavy lifting for you. This is ownership of capital. If you are not participating in the stock market in broad-based index funds and ETFs, you are missing out. You want to literally own productive corporations across the economy, and that is how you do it. Now, broad-based index funds and ETFs are what we call paper assets. The next asset is ownership in physical assets. So the fourth asset that every adult should own as soon as possible is simply real estate. Real estate is what helps you build wealth for generations. Why? Because real estate is going to provide you with appreciation 99 times out of 100. The value of a piece of real estate is going to rise over time. It is also going to provide you with rental income. If it is something you can rent out, it is going to provide you with inflation protection real estate. Here's one that people do not really think about when it comes to real estate. Real estate is a hedge against inflation. Why? Because when the price of everything goes up, so do the rents that you charge and collect. Whether it is good, bad, you do not like it, do you like it? It does not matter. That is how it works. Also, with real estate, you get tax advantages and you get long-term equity growth, right? I could go on and on about the beauty of owning real estate because I have owned real estate, rental real estate for the last 26 years. I bought my first piece of real estate in the year 2000. From 2000 to 2005, I bought 6 pieces of rental property. I owned them all for at least 10 years. I got rid of some, lost some, and still own 2 pieces of rental real estate today. single-family homes. Now, when I say real estate, I want to preface this. I am not only talking about single-family homes, I am also talking about big apartment complexes. That is real estate, duplexes, triplexes, land, REITs. There are all different forms of real estate that you can own. I want you to understand this. You do not need to immediately buy some big, massive rental portfolio. You could start slow, start where you are, start in the neighborhood you are in, or the neighborhoods that you are familiar with. Study the market carefully, pay attention to rental demand in the area, rental prices in the area, population growth, taxes, insurance. Think about local trends that are happening, what is coming to the area, what just left the area. Then use tools at your disposal, Redfin, Zillow, I could go on and on. There are all different types of software platforms out there to rent properties out and to manage your own properties, or there are management companies. There is so much about real estate that is good, of course. It comes with its risks as well. But for the most part, real estate strengthens your balance sheet over time. Think about this too. If you do not want direct ownership of a physical piece of property, do not forget the options like REITs and Fundrise and fractional ownership and syndications. There is a lot to real estate, but ownership matters.